kick off with politics this morning, and it's about the Abia State governorship seat. Mascot Uzor-Kalu joins us this morning. He's the governorship candidate of the Action People's Party, APP, in Abia State. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Good morning. Good morning, Chairman. Good morning,
Good morning.
So how's the campaign going at the moment?
It's going well. I've had the opportunity to have got the whole 17 local government, 294 ABSEC wards. And I just started another tour of the 17 local government.
All over again?
Yes. And
how many times do you plan to tour them?
Hopefully I will be able to finish up twice. So having a party that is quite new in the state, not new, but new to the people, it's important that I drive my message to the locals, because those are going to be the voters. So we've taken our time, we've gone around. There's no village in Abia State that I've not gone to. And so we're positive in the directions we're going.
Has there been any time in that campaign where you think, oh, what did I get myself into? But I'll keep going.
Of course, you wake up one day, you're so tired, you can't move, but you have a schedule, and you have a schedule to keep. And we fight to keep those schedules, because the people are already expecting you.
It's quite interesting in Abia State at the moment. I know that the APC, the PDP, they've had... No, APC has had, I think they're still having their legal issues going back and forth about that. At the PDP, unfortunately, they've lost. Their candidate just died. Commiseration to them, by the way. Yes. And then, you know, you just wonder, does it make you think, ooh, suddenly you have a huge, chance, the door is open. But when you then think about Alex Otti, what does that do?
Well, Alex is not feared by anybody. He's an economist, I'm an economist, so I'm not afraid of Alex. We both of us were once in the APC, and we both left because of the things we foresaw in APC, and we moved on. He's in Labour, I'm in Action People's Party. So he's doing his campaign, I'm doing my campaign. But, you know, the odds does favor me, because the Abian people want a younger person, more aggressive person, somebody who's different. And I fit the more profile of what Abia people are looking for.
But, you know, Abia people wanted, I mean, Dr. Otis said the same thing too. The Abia people wanted him.
That was 8 years ago.
Yeah, he said the same thing too at that time, and he was upbeat. He almost thought he was going to get it, that he was just having one hand on the entire thing, but we know what the situation is now. But in terms of, add to that, the question about the platform, because you would have, if you got the ticket on APC, you would have grabbed it. But then you are in APP now. So how important is getting a platform to push your message?
A platform does matter, but Abia is so polarized that the two big parties are not in play for the governorship. They have legal issues, they have candidacy issues. Like you said, rest in peace, the Professor Ikone. With this now, there's a new tussle. They have to present the candidate within the next 14 days by INEC guideline. They have so broken up. Can they come together to present one unified candidate? That we very much doubt. So Abia State will have a governor from a minority party.
Why do you doubt that? I mean, we saw it in Kogi, and they still won.
Well, we know the inside politics, what's going on within the PDP family. So we very much doubt that they can have a united front to have one candidate that will represent the interests of the entire PDP. No doubt, they still remain a strong party, but they are a broken party.
You're hoping to capitalize on that?
That's what any minority party will hope to capitalize on. They're the power in seat, so you'll be deceiving yourself not to recognize their powers. But that's what we are hoping on and capitalizing on, that they are not together, and that because of the infighting, it opens up room for a minority party to become the governor of the state.
Well, Abia does have quite a number of issues. I mean, I've been also monitoring some of the campaign messages of, you know, Mr. Alex Otti, even though you say nobody is afraid of him.
Yes.
But he does look like he's been making quite some inroads in terms of his campaign and his messaging to the people. Some people say that Abia has, you know, quite an interesting situation. There has been a rotation of leadership within the three senatorial zones, and they're hoping that right now to go back to, is it the northern region of
that is correct.
Are you also hoping to, are you banking on that?
Well, it's part of what we hope to have. I am the only front runner from the Abia North Senatorial District as it stands today. And it is the turn of the Abia North Senatorial District to present a governorship candidate. So
how
yes,
strong are those type of sentiments?
they do become strong closer to the election because especially for the northern section, we supported a southern governor. We supported a southern governor. Most of people from the north either voted for Alex Oti in 2015 or voted for Governor Igbazu. So we supported a southern governor, and we do believe that it's time for them to also support a northern governor. And like I said, I am the only front runner from the north.
Mm. So I'm looking at some of the messaging from the from some of the campaign messages that we've heard, and part of it is an intention to pay backlog of salaries and retirement benefits owed, different categories of workers. In some instances, we're hearing as many as 70. Some people allege that they've been owed as much as 70 months in retirement benefits. And someone look at Abia's, monthly allocation. It's will I say, a mid-range state. It's not exactly. It's not one of the states that's receiving the least. How do you hope to tackle some of the problems that Abia has with, I don't want to say with a debt problem, but owing workers in that manner? Because the state government continues to deny it. They say they don't owe that much. But, I mean, he who feels it knows it. So how do you hope to tackle this sort of conundrum that, you might be inheriting should you become governor?
Well, part of the message we pass to the people during our campaigns are we recognize the fact that people are old. Some people mention, like you said, 70. Some people say 40 for the pensioners, and then the salary earners are anywhere between 12 to 20 months. What I have promised them is that I will call their union, the various union, have an understanding with them, and draw up an agreement with them, given a time period, be it 12 months or 18 months, or whatever we feel is going to take based on what we find on ground. And that's with proper audit of what is actually owed. And then I agree with them how long it will take us to pay that amount. But our plan is from June, between June 25th and June 29th, to start paying current payments that are due. So that's the promise we've made to the pensioners and salary earners.
Between when?
That between the 25th of every month to the 29th of every month, their salaries will be paid.
Okay. Now, I also know that the current governor, in fairness to him, tried to market made in Nigeria, or made in Abia more specifically. And, he had a campaign going around different states and, different, depending on the forum, marketing made in Abia. And some people will say that Abia does have the potential, to rival any major market anywhere in the world. But that it's yet to really take off as it needs to. It's yet to really achieve that full potential that it has. What is going to be your own strategy to make sure that Abia gets the right of, let's say, the right of place that it truly deserves when markets are mentioned?
Sure. The Made in Abia project, part of what we identify why it didn't really take off like it should take off is because the Abia people that are being trained for the Made in Abia were going to China, they were going to Turkey for training. But we feel because of the population of the people that need to be trained, those training centers should actually be in Abia. They should be in Abia. They should have also potential manufacturing companies for equipment also available. So we said we're going to change the modum of operandi. We're going to have the training centers in Abia. We're also going to have relative manufacturing companies from either China or Turkey present, willing to sign agreements with government that after training, whatever equipment the people need, the equipment can be given to them, guaranteed by government, where they will pay gradually over a period of time to maximize the manufacturing. Abia has the ability to take over in shoe manufacturing. We have both comparative and competitive advantage on shoe manufacturing across probably the whole Africa. So it becomes a huge hub that we could actually become a global market for shoe production. But we need to have that training so that the precision, the products that are used, the standardization is there for us to be accepted in the global market.
No, don't you think a part of the reason why perhaps they're being trained abroad is not just for them to get the training, but also to see how the environment operates?
Well, how many people can you do that? I mean, it costs, I think for me, it costs more. You send them, you pay plane tickets, you give them per diem to go over there. Are we trying to, yes, exposure is good, but what they need is the training and the precision. The more people that we have, the more people we have here, the more people we can train, the more people can have production. There are Macy's, all these other companies, they produce their shoes in China, I mean, in India and other Asian countries. There's no reason why those shoes that you buy in Macy's and Target cannot be produced in Abia. There's absolutely no reason. We have the strongest and the biggest market.
You know, when you say that you plan to create 40,000 new private sector-driven jobs, have you done some analysis on this? How is that going to play out?
What we just talked about is part of the jobs that we're talking about, job creation. We have the Abia palm and also the palm in Abia that are just lying fallow. Abia palm is 6,000 hectares of land, 2,400 cultivated, not in use. As you know, palm oil is even more important than right now, or more in need than crude oil. So we have a lot of resources in between Umuahia all the way to Arunchuku. We have our rice farm, which is also not being in use. And we are talking about rice production. These are industries that were put in place many years ago that are just lying fallow. So we believe that we can, through a viable partnership, we can reactivate a lot of these industries, reactivate our shoe industry. And we believe we are being modest with the 40,000 jobs.
You think that can be more?
Yes. United Nations is expecting about 200 and something thousand for Abia to meet a level of potential. But we want to believe that let's benchmark it at 40,000. If we can do more, we'll do more. But I believe we can do more.
Well, at the moment, I mean, the health sector is taking a hit. Several doctors I spoke to just thought it's a huge disincentive for them. They're not looking forward to going to Abia State for the medical practice. So what is your thinking in that regard?
Well, a lot of things have gone wrong in the medical sector. Salaries are not being paid and things of that nature. A lot of the hospitals are not even being used. Our hope and dream is to bring in hospital management companies. We have some huge hospitals in Abia that could become an international standard hospital that are just not being used. So most people have moved their direction and hope into private hospitals. But we hope to create some type of insurance scheme supported by the public, and hopefully with that revive the economic system.
How do you mean supported by the public?
Well, let's give an example. If we have 2 million people in Abia and government is asking for 1,000 naira a month to go into the health sector, that's about 2 billion that comes in on a monthly basis. With this kind of money, we can revive the hospitals and put a proper management health system. We have promised to put minimum of 5 healthcare centers in every local government. Those healthcare centers will provide you the basic needs. And they'll also be in partnership, maybe like the USAID and the other foreign agencies that have medication and treatments that they want to offer for free. And if they don't have such places for them to come and do those things, you miss out on those things. So we'll have those healthcare centers within the local government. Our hope is to give the basic care, things like malaria medication, typhoid medication for free. And then you will now pay for your childbirth or surgeries and things of that nature. And the healthcare system that we're going to put in place will help fund that.
Kaide, Buki.
Yes, thank you, Chamberlain. Good morning, Mr. Uzor-Kalu. It's interesting that you say that no one's afraid, I hope I got it correctly, of the Labour Party governorship candidate, Mr. Alex Soti. But let's take a look at the politics and refer to the poll conducted sometime last year by ANAP, the organization that conducts polls. It puts Alex Soti in the lead of the one preferred to win the election. And you come somewhere in the 5th position. How do you intend to beat this result when Abians actually go to the polls?
Well, let me ask you a question. The poll that was taken, Did they conduct my grand aunt who's in the village? Most voters in the rural areas are older people that don't have access to internet and things of that nature. So the polls that we do are usually basically Abians who are in Lagos and who are in Abuja. They don't take a full sample of entire Abia State people. There's no doubt that he's run for governor since 2015.
Kalu, do you have that information?
On some of these things,
that ANAP conducted.
Say again?
Do you have that information that those, subjected to the survey?
I do. I do.
Are Abians
I don't
in
have
Lagos,
it in front
not
of me.
Abians at home?
Well, I do have it. I do have it in front of me. I mean, I don't have it in front of me, but I did see it. Let me give you an example. I am the front runner in Abia North Senatorial District, and they had me at about, I think, about 25% in Abia North sector. That doesn't make any sense. Anybody knows will tell you, Bende and Ohafi alone will vote me 100% because I'm their son. So that's why I said to you, the polls that were conducted were just sample polls from people who most likely internet survey. They did not take into consideration the older women, the younger people who are within the localities that do not have access to internet. Take that into consideration. And those are the people we are reaching.
Confident that you are the front runner now that the candidate of the PDP is out of the picture?
No, I'm not saying I'm the front runner because he's out of the picture. I said when we were talking about Abia North, which is the senatorial district that should produce the governor today, I am the front runner from Abia North. I am the front runner amongst collective Abia North candidates. I'm not saying because the demise of the PDP candidate that I am the front runner today. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying, as it relates to Abia North, I am today the front runner.
Well, it's interesting that you hold this position because you were once with the ruling party, the PDP, when you served under Governor Theodore Orji, which is why I want to ask this next question. How confident are you that your party, the AAC, will deliver Abia in the presidential election? The last election, Abia delivered to the PDP, and the election before that, Abia delivered to the PDP as well. So how will Abia, upturn that, AAC upturn that result?
My party is actually Action People's Party. I do have a candidate for president.
Action People's Party.
And at this point, I think that's who we plan on voting for, unless otherwise directed by the national, if there's any kind of either alliance reached at some point. So my party is Action People's Party. We plan to vote for the presidential candidate of our party.
All right. I mean, I listened to you previously talking about some of your plans made in Abia, which is going to be a big one for a lot of Nigerians, and especially the people in your state. You talked about the health scheme and all of that. But I just realized that you kept saying, we hope, or I hope. And you kept using that word, I hope too. And I recall this, this meeting that was held recently, that, the civil societies were saying, well, politicians make lots of promises. In fact, they promise you heaven and earth when they come into power. I mean, what they put on ground is a far cry from what they promise. And they were advocating that perhaps politicians should be taken to court, for promise and fail. Because they always say agreement is agreement, but it looks like once they get into power, they just, make sure that agreement falls out. So would you be advocating or advising people, if you were to be voted in, to take you to court if you do not fulfill those promises? That's just on the side. I just wanted to bring that up before we go into other issues.
All right. Well, I use the word we hope because I need to become governor to be able to achieve the things that I've lined up to achieve. So that's why I use the word we hope. Well, the truth of the matter is that a lot of people come out and they say a lot of things when they're running for election. I have served as a chief of staff. I understand the system. I understand Abia. I understand the government. And the manifesto that I've rolled out, a manifesto that covers round-wide what the state and the people are expecting. I've also engaged the people while I was drafting manifesto. My manifesto is not one that was given to a consultant. It was done by me and my team in-house. When we started the 294-ward tour, we took into consideration some of the things the people voiced to us. So our manifesto is one that covers all the voice and the expectation of the people. So it wasn't one done by a consultant. So I can assure you our goal will be to reach and accomplish the goals that we've set forth. And yes, if I do not meet my goal, the people are allowed to take me to court.
Can sue you. Okay, so, I mean, looking at your political trajectory, you actually know your state quite well. You've been at the corridor of power when your brother was governor, even closer when you were a chief of staff, and of course you moved on to the APC, left for the APP, and basically you are that kind of politician, and they say has seen it all, literally, at least at that level, except the one you're aspiring for. And recently it was reported that you said that you would also fix the mistakes that your brother made. And I wonder, what are those mistakes you hope to fix, those mistakes made by your brother, the former governor of the state?
Yes, just a point of correction. I wasn't chief of staff under my brother's administration. I was chief of staff under Governor Theodore.
No, I didn't say you were. I said you were then chief of staff. I didn't say you were under your brother. I mean, my colleague had alluded to that.
Okay, no problem. Well, my brother has been in the front run of politics for a long time, and you can't be in the front run without having stepped on toes and things of that nature. He can't claim that he's perfect. He's done some good. I'm sure there are some people he's also wrong. So when I say that I'll correct the mistakes he made, I mean that if there are those who he has wronged and the mistakes he's made, as I go into government and it's brought forth to me, I will make corrections to them. So those are the things that I mean. I can't sit and tell you these are the things he's done wrong that I'm going to correct at this point in time. But I do know for a fact there's no way he would have been governor for 8 years. And he's just a perfect governor, would have wronged some people or done some things wrong. That's common nature. So I have put it in there. I've also said that I'll correct wrongs done by my former boss, Governor Theodore. So not only just the wrongs by my brother. And when I mean that, I mean personal wrongs and maybe policy wrongs that they may have taken. Like in my campaign, I identified one. In 2011, non-indigenes from Abia State were disengaged from service. And while Abia in 2002 had passed a non-indigene law that allows non-indigenes who were born or had lived in Abia for 10 years to be part of Abia, to be able to vie for any political position except for governorship of the state. So I identified that that was a wrong. And I've also put in my manifesto that we will put up a committee to review those disengagement, know where those people are, and see what we need to do about it. So things like that are things that I talk about that if I was done wrong by the previous administration, I will look at them, I will fix them, I'll correct them.
Does that include this administration?
Sure, because government is a continuum.
What are you going to do as we wind down with power?
Power is a federal problem, but
the states can now, the Senate,
yes.
They're looking into. I mean, when we were in Kaduna, the governor told us, yes, he's even going ahead to build transmission output, and then they will transmit power as well.
The power is a federal problem. But I do know right now in Abia, geometrics is there in place, which has fully taken over 9 local government to supply power. Abia has an independent power plant, which is yet to take off. And I have also promised the remaining local government, remaining 8 local government, that if the power problems that they have continue, we will also look at a way to provide an independent power company to take over. As you know, generation has not been the issue. It's transmission has been the issue. So hopefully, if there are flexible laws that would allow states or companies to transmit on their own, those are welcome development. That will be a way of having. Abia really needs a 24-hour power generation to be able to function, because there's a lot of manufacturing that can be done in Abia.
All right, Mascot, Uzor-Kalu, governorship candidate of the APP, thank you for coming on, and all the best.